Hello, everybody. It's Sunday night, and we have our special webinar tonight. We got Mr. Chris Guthrie coming in to talk with us about reviews tonight. He is the co-creator of Amma Suite, and he's going to share with us stuff about getting reviews tonight. And I think he's got some really interesting stuff to say. So a couple things. Let's make sure we got audio and video. So if you're out there and you can see and hear us and see how good looking we all are, then we'll make sure we got there before we get talking.
Yeah, sounds great.
We know where you've been having a better time this weekend. I heard you've been out, having some friends get ready to be married.
Yep, bachelor party. Just got
Sure.
back today.
When I got married, I was dating a very conservative girl, so there wasn't much of a bachelor party when I got married. 15 years ago. Actually, 21 years ago. Holy cow, I'm old. No, 22 years ago is when I got married. How about that? And that was at 23. It wasn't like I got married at 18. I'm 45, so anyway, 93 is when I got married the first time. All right, everybody says we look and sound terrific. Hey, Paul, say hi to everybody.
Good evening, team. How's it going? Hope everyone's well.
You have to do it. It's my favorite line. Where are you at?
Philippines calling America. Everybody there?
He always says it. I'm calling from the Philippines. All right. Yes, we are, Sidra. I think there's 3 of us here. So I don't know who the unhandsome one is, Sidra, but So anyway, we're glad you guys came by to see us tonight. We definitely, I think we have some really cool stuff to share. Chris, you're going to share with us stuff about reviews, right?
Yeah, we'll be talking about getting product reviews, some software that helps with that, and just strategies and questions people ask. So, yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, let's do it, Chris. Let's get them started.
Okay. All right, let me go ahead and start sharing my screen here. As I find the right one. There we go. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, so yeah, we'll be talking about how to get more reviews for your products on Amazon. And I can't see the questions, so what we'll do is near the end, we'll post any questions you have during there. We can chime in and answer those. And so these are the 3 things you're going to be learning today. Number 1, why you should get more reviews. This is obvious, but a lot of people actually miss this, and I'm going to show you some examples of why this is the case. And really, it's not something you should mess up. And I know that there were some comments before we got started talking about how the review landscape has been changing, and we'll get to that as well. And definitely, too, in the comments and questions, we'll get to that as well. After that, we'll be covering specific strategies and tools that I'm using to get more reviews. Another tool that I'm using specifically, and be sharing a bonus for you to check that out as well. And then finally, we'll be covering the exact script that I use to get people to review my products, so you can copy and adapt that script for your own products. So it should be an action-packed, lots of fun. And Rob, too, if you want to chime in and you have questions, go ahead and interrupt me. No worries. I'm happy to stop wherever, and same as well. All right. So let's examine my favorite example niche. Now, Rob mentioned again, and I know lots of you mentioned that I was an Amma Suite co-creator, so you probably heard me say barbecue grill brushes before. This is a example that I use in that course and software. And so let's use it again here today while we're talking about reviews. So again, I mentioned before, sellers don't always get this. I popped in barbecue grill brush, found a bunch of different examples. This is one here. I don't know who these people are, by the way. I just kind of grabbed them randomly. And you can see there are 3 reviews on the previous one, 4 reviews on this option, 6 reviews on this one. And this is actually a listing I wanted to examine a bit further. And this is the question I have really is, what is wrong with this picture, right? You look at these reviews here, and some of the comments might be saying, okay, the reviews are short, they don't seem that helpful. But really the main issue here is that there's only 6 of them, right? It's been nearly 6 months, because again, February 28th was when this first review was posted. And now it's nearly 6 months, and this seller has only 6 reviews. That's just not something you want to have happen to you if you're up and selling on Amazon. For you to have a product up and for 6 months to go by and only have 6 reviews. And really the key is you want to, reviews are within your control, and so getting a lot more of them is really, really important. You know, if you look at other best-selling barbecue grill brushes, the thing that they have in common, of course, is they have lots of reviews, and then that also translates to their bestseller rank. Now, generally speaking, the more reviews a product has, the more sales it's getting. Now, it's not always the case. That's only one part of the equation. But the point I'm trying to get across is that it's something you can easily control. So if you're out there and you're just now getting started selling, or you're in the planning phases, you're still trying to find your product, this is something you can control and something you should control, because it's one of several components that matter for you to actually get some success on Amazon. All right, so again, more reviews generally equal more social proof, that more consumer confidence, and that leads to more sales. And if you just look at your own buying behavior, you know, are you buying products with hundreds of reviews or only a handful of reviews? Right? These are obvious questions here, but if you ask them to yourself and you look at your listings and you say, okay, I only have a few reviews, then it's something you can easily solve. One of the ways too, and this just translates to anything, well, let alone reviews, ultimately you want to say, you know, what does Amazon want, right? They want to make money. And so what does Amazon like? Or who does Amazon like? Sellers that make them more money, right? And so if you look at a lot of different areas, and this goes even beyond reviews, and you think about these two questions, if you have good answers to them and you're doing a good job of being a good seller on Amazon's platform, then you're going to be able to help make them more money, which in turn will help them make you more money. So here's actually how you do that, right? So again, increasing your conversion rate helps with this. The better your page converts, the more sales you're going to get, because then the more keywords you rank for and everything else, right? And there are several different factors that influence this conversion rate, like your title, your images, your bullet points, your description, and really we could actually go an entire presentation just on this, going through different listings and all that, but let's focus on social proof, reviews, that's what we talked about earlier. And again, you know, I'm saying these obvious questions, you might be saying that right now, Chris, why are you saying so many obvious things? But this is what I want to prevent, because even though I talk about reviews, even with an Amma Suite, I continue to get people that will send me their listing, and it's not something I necessarily ask for, but people say, hey, I'm looking for some feedback, and then this is what happens, right? 4 reviews in 6 months. And again, I have no idea who this seller is, I just found it as an example, but it's something that I see time and time again with new sellers, and it's something that you can control. And again, if you're not selling, or if you're already selling and you already have a lot of reviews, don't worry, we'll talk about where this will come into play as well. But here's how you can get more reviews. I'm going to share 5 strategies that I've used, and we're going to dive into each one. So friends and family, and there's a caveat to that strategy. Top 10,000 reviewers, product launch services, your own list of VIP reviewers, and then email follow-up sequences. Okay? So before we go any further, I do want to mention that what is and isn't allowed with this business isn't always black and white. This should be no surprise, because any business that you build, there's always a level of gray area. And as I've learned selling on Amazon for the last, since 2014 and into this year, there are varying degrees of gray. And so sometimes you just need to determine, you know, what it is you want to do for your business, because a lot of sellers are out there doing things that are blatantly against Amazon's terms of services. And sometimes, you know, they aren't. But you have to be aware of what people are and aren't doing, so you can make that decision for your business. And again, you know, if you're doing something wrong, it's not going to be a good excuse if Amazon ever enforced it to say, oh, well, everyone else is doing it, right? Okay, so some of the strategies, again, I'm going to be sharing our gray area, but I'm going to notate those so you know. All right, so friends and family, this is something that I used to do with my listings. I don't do it anymore, but the reason why I say it's gray area now is because Amazon more recently updated their terms of service for reviews, and specifically they said, here are some examples of reviews that we don't allow. And they go through, you know, product manufacturer posts a review of their own product, posing as an unbiased shopper. That's obvious, you don't want to do that. A customer posts a review in exchange for $5. So again, you don't want to ever do sell your product and then send an email out to your customers and offer them a discount or something if they leave you a review. That's obviously going to get you in trouble, and that actually can get your account banned. And so you can see these different types of things that you can allow, but then the one that stuck out to me was a family member. A family member of the product creator posts a 5-star customer review to help boost sales, right? So they're specifically saying, you know, family's not allowed. And I think it's implied that friends in that case wouldn't be either. So it's sort of a gray area. And I believe that Amazon's actually been implementing some data mining tactics to determine whether or not the reviews that are being posted are from family members. All right, so take a sip of water. Top 10,000 reviewers. This is another strategy, and actually it's pretty much one that we pioneered with Amma Suite. For people that are familiar with the software, you'll probably know this, but if you Google top 10,000 reviewers Amazon, or top 10,000 reviewers Amazon UK, etc., you can find this page on Amazon, and it goes through these top 10,000 reviewers. And so you can see these names here: Ali Julia, Jay Chambers, Bob Tobias. I feel like I know these people by their first names on a first name basis because I see their names so often. But what you can do is you can click these people's profiles, and it pulls up their information. So in the case of #1 reviewer, Ali Julia, it shows her email address. And you can even see here this alijulia.amazonreviews@yahoo.com. So she knows, okay, I'm getting lots of people emailing me about their product reviews. And what you do is you come down here to this interest tab, and you can see what they're interested in. And there'll be some stuff where they say specifically they don't want to review, right? But the great part is you can actually go to the much further down pages and say, hey, here's someone that's interested in what it is I'm selling. Say it's something in the photography space, and you can see here my interests include computers and photography, etc. You can contact them and say, hey, I have this product in the photography niche. I see you're interested in photography. Would you be interested in leaving a review of my product? Now again, this is something that right now is still effective, right? Whether or not this continues to be effective further on down the line, we'll see, right? As it is now, if Amazon didn't want people to be doing these types of reviews from these top 10,000 reviewers, then they wouldn't have them on there. The important part really is you have to make sure that there's disclosure, right? So these top 10,000 reviewers, for the most part, know this, but they need to say this review is you received a product for free in exchange for an unbiased and honest review, right? So that's the disclosure you have to have, and that's where a lot of these reviews have been getting pulled up, which again we can get to as we get to the questions here later. But so top 10,000 reviewers, and if you're an Amma Suite user, if you aren't yet, we built a tool that specifically helps you find these top 10,000 reviewers, and then you can quickly filter through to find the people interested in specific products, so then you can contact them more quickly. So that's very, very helpful. Okay, so continuing on, product launch services. Now this can be gray area. You want to avoid any service buying reviews. This should be obvious, but there were some stories several months ago about Amazon suing websites that were specifically helping to basically sell product reviews, right? And so you don't want to do this. Now I don't have any specific service recommendations for this call, but these services can be very effective. I haven't been using any others. I built my own kind of private one that I use, but these are something to consider as well. And then a fourth strategy is your own list of VIP reviewers. This is one of my favorite strategies, and the reason why I like this the most is that in any business you build, it's really important to control as much of the business as you can, right? And when you're selling on Amazon's platform, there's only so much you can control because you're at the mercy, in a lot of cases, of Amazon's rules, right? And so with this strategy, you can build your own list, and basically your own list of traffic, right? People that are interested in the products that you're offering. And so the next question would be, how do you get these, right? So you can do product inserts, and again, this is gray area because Amazon says some things about not necessarily doing that. You can also use your own traffic source, which could come in the form of your own website. This is going to be the most common way that you might do this, and you're going to give you the most control because, of course, it's your own website. You can do whatever you want. And so on your website, rather, I'll come back to this, you might want to put up a page like VIP. And on that VIP page, you put in an email opt-in box, and you'd say, hey, sign up for my email list to be able to get free or discount products in exchange for a review. And you can get a lot of reviews that way to help you initially kick off your product. The key really is to just get a good product launch with enough reviews so that once you start ranking your product and doing well, you'll start getting more natural reviews from your actual buyers. Another strategy too is use other people's websites. So this is usually, there may be some cost associated with this, or it can be free. But if you're in the barbecue space, for example, you could just search for barbecue blogs, and then you can go through every single barbecue blog, and you look for reviews or giveaways, and then you can look for to see if they're actually doing this with other companies. And then you can say, hey, I have this product in the barbecue space. Could I give away 10 on your website when people sign up for my email list or for a giveaway, right? And there's software that you can use to automate this process so you can add all these people to your email list. And so this is another strategy you can use as well. Also, Facebook groups. And a lot of people here probably are in one of the Facebook groups that Rob has going on. But Facebook groups can be really effective around the specific niche that you're interested in, right? So if it was barbecue, then there are barbecue Facebook groups. And I looked into these, and you can contact the admins. You just look up the members list, click admins, and then you can contact them through private message. And then, of course, you can also create your own brand page, and you can use your brand page and do posts to get people to sign up that way. Now, I do believe that groups are going to be more effective, though, because Facebook reduced the organic reach of Facebook pages quite a while ago, several years ago, I believe now. And so those don't you have to pay generally for your post to actually be seen by the people that liked your Facebook group, or Facebook page, rather. And so again, really, these examples just kind of serve to show that it's not that hard to find people that are interested in giving your product away to. Okay, and then, so ultimately these are the when you launch sources, right? So friends and family, which is not something I'm not doing as much, but it's something you can do. Top 10,000 reviewers, product launch services, and your own list of VIP reviewers. And again, so some of these are gray area. I don't do friends and family anymore, but some people do. Top 10,000 reviewers are still very, very effective, and they should be for the foreseeable future. Product launch services are again going to be effective, again, as long as you make sure that people that are doing these reviews leave a disclaimer, right? So a lot of the times that these reviews have been removed is when people aren't leaving the disclaimer that they received the product at a discount in exchange for a review. And then the option that gives you the most control will be your own list of VIP reviewers.
Hey, by the way, hey, Chris, one of the things that I think there's this contention over a lot, and I mean, is about reviews and giving away free product. And I want to make this very clear. Amazon absolutely will allow you to get reviews by giving away free product. They do not care. It's in their TOS. It's as plain as day. But the word after it is that the reviewer in the review just has to reveal that they, in exchange for the review, got the product free or at low cost.
Exactly.
So it just needs to be like that. And if you had a review from somebody and you know it was a free product, if you can get back in contact with them, that would be very helpful. Now, most of the people, if you use any review groups, understand this. But if you get somebody who got a free product, man, it may not even be a problem. But it could be, and I mean, all Amazon's going to do is take the review. So, but just make sure in the review, and they're not taking reviews where it says, "Hey, I got this product as a promotional product." They're taking down people's reviews that don't even have that in there, and they may have been legitimate reviews because the other thing that they have done is they've got to the point where, because I read this whole article about it, is they've come up with certain sequences of the way in which people give reviews that are fake. And so they've been able to analyze how the wording goes in a review by somebody who's created a fake review. And so they use that in their algorithm to search that, and I think they're doing some connection with Facebook. I mean, the most important thing for right now, Amazon, is based upon their reviews. Their review system is very important to them, and so that's why they're going to continue to do this. But they absolutely 100% in the TOS say that you can give products away for free, but you just have to let them know that you got it for free or for a substantial discount. So
Exactly.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good to really emphasize that, because I think that a lot of the times people get scared about what's happening and they hear things, and it's really a lot of rumors that get spread,
Right.
frankly.
And you know why that's happening, Chris? Is because everybody's in 20 different Facebook groups, and what happens is somebody says it one place, and then all of a sudden everybody, I saw it everywhere. Well, no, you really only saw it one time. It's the same dang thing over and over again, and I call it the Facebook rumor mill. It's like high school. All of a sudden someone says something, and then there's all this horrible misinformation about there, and you know, so no, it's absolutely okay, and it's a great promotional tool to be able to get your reviews, you know, as well. So.
And then one more point on this, and then we'll continue on. But the thing is that if Amazon didn't actually allow this, then they wouldn't have their own endorsed program through the Amazon Vine program, which is where, you know, bigger brands can pay Amazon, and then they coordinate associating, you know, connecting them to the reviewers, right? So the point is that you can do that. You just got to make sure the disclosure's on there. But let's continue on here, and so, but here, so again, these are the when you launch sources, right? And really don't have to get that fancy, right? This is just what I use. There might be some other strategies you could use for getting reviews, but this is always enough for me. And then this is actually how, if you want to try and get to 1,000+ reviews, again, over time, especially if you're not selling a ton of units with your product, but you get those primarily with your email follow-up sequence, right? And these are the types of reviews that have even the lowest chance of getting removed, unless, of course, it looks like it's a fake review. But these are the reviews that are coming from your natural organic customers, right? They're people that you're emailing after they purchase your product. And actually 95% of my reviews have come from this strategy, right? So vast majority of the reviews just come from this sequence that I implement from the initial launch of any product that I do. And so, again, 100% Amazon compliant. You just gotta make sure you follow these rules, right? So again, we're playing in Amazon's playground, so to speak, and you don't want to upset them because they're, in some cases, they can be the bully. But for the most part, they're great partners. But the point is that you got to make sure you aren't doing things that are against their rules, right? So you don't want to link to your own website URL. Don't do that because Amazon, again, they spent 20+ years now building their platform, and they want their customers to stay in their platform. They don't want people to siphon them off to other areas. After that, don't market your other products, even though sold on Amazon. So some people I see are doing this. It's just not worth the risk. You're not going to get a lot of people that actually are going to end up buying, and I wouldn't recommend doing this. And then thirdly, again, you just focus on your communication on just that one order, and you're going to be fine. So this is some general advice, and this is something that I've learned over doing internet businesses now for 6 years or so, 6 years full time. And the way that I found that you can achieve victory and win and do things that matter and succeed against your competition is when you see what a lot of people are doing and then you do it differently, right? You don't want to copy the exact same thing. That's why you see a lot of people going into the exact same products, doing no differentiation, and they're not selling anything, right? Because they haven't done anything different. So here's a good example, right? So this company, CD Baby, was sold for $22 million several years ago, and the founder realized that most businesses are too serious in their customer communications. Right, so this is actually the email that they used to send out to customers. I believe they still send it out now. And it says, and I'll read it here just in case you can't see it, but it says, your CD has been gently taken from our CD Baby shelves with sterilized, contamination-free gloves and placed onto a satin pillow. A team of 50 employees inspected your CD and polished it to make sure it was in the best possible condition before mailing. Our packaging specialist from Japan lit a candle and a hush fell over the crowd as he put your CD into the finest gold-lined box that money can buy. So you can see as he's going along here, it's just this ridiculous, over-the-top email. And as it continues on, he said, we all had a wonderful celebration afterwards, and the whole party marched down the street to the post office where the entire town of Portland waved bon voyage to your package on its way to you in our private CD Baby jet on this day, Friday, June 6th. Hope you had a wonderful time shopping at CD Baby. We sure did. Your picture is on our wall as Customer of the Year. We're all exhausted, but can't wait for you to come back to cdbaby.com. Now, if you were to Google CD Baby Jet right now, you'd see tens of thousands of listings because this has been mentioned so many different times because it's such a different experience from a customer to see this, right? So this humor and this kind of over-the-top email. And so the way I kind of took this when I read this story was, I'm looking at these other Amazon sellers as I'm trying to figure out what to sell, and I've found, they are very, very serious as well. They're serious about their product. They're trying to be too cordial, and just, everything is kind of uptight. And so what I did instead was to incorporate some humor. So this is actually the sequence that I'm using, and I'm going to give you a link to use it at the end as well. Okay. So the very first email that I send, it's sent immediately after the purchase. Now, there's a few different tweaks you can do here, but I'm going to talk about this one here. And then we'll continue on. So the first email I say is, thank you for your product name purchase. Now, this is something that can be replaced automatically with software, which we'll get to in a bit. But it continues on saying, hello, first name, or hello, buyer. Thank you for purchasing your product. This is the first of 3 emails you will receive. So again, I'm setting the expectation that they're only going to be seeing 3 emails from me. If they don't want to see those emails, they can click an unsubscribe link at the end. But I include the link to the order. We value your satisfaction, and then I continue on saying, if for any reason you have any issues receiving your product, don't worry, we have you covered. Reply to this email or contact Amazon customer service right away, and I include the Amazon customer service link. Now, in my case, I like to put the Amazon customer service link in because I want to do less customer emails, right? If Amazon can solve the problem for them, then it helps me not have to deal with the problem. right? Now, maybe you don't want to. Maybe you want to say, hey, go ahead and email me back. But what I like to include, this is where I start to incorporate humor into the email, right? So after I put that customer service link, I says, while you wait for your item to be delivered, please find a stranger to high five. It will make their day and you'll enjoy it too. Thank you again for your purchase. And I put in my name, the company name, and that's what I do, right? So this line about finding a stranger to high five, it's something that people do not expect. And it's somewhat humorous. Maybe it's just funny to me, but so far it's been working from getting them to think that it's different communication than the typical sellers they're dealing with on Amazon. And so when I continue it on, email 2, this is sent 5 days after delivery. And the email starts with, how is your product working for you? And then I say, hello, buyer. This is the second of 3 emails you received from us. By now, Amazon should have delivered your brand new product. Remember, if you have any issues whatsoever, please reply to this email or contact Amazon customer service. They're very helpful, speedy and then the customer service link, right? So again, if for some reason it hasn't been delivered, even though I've set the email to go up because there can be some bizarre issues where, say, the package is lost or something, then you still have this, right? And it says, we're a growing company. We appreciate every purchase. We strive to ensure that all of our customers are completely satisfied, and it's our hope that you truly are. And then 2-minute favor to ask. So again, you're setting an expectation. It's a very small time commitment for what's about to follow. And then here's the emails that continue. So if the product has met or exceeded your expectations, we would love to hear about it. Please spread the word by leaving a review. It will only take 2 minutes and is very much appreciated. Feel free to comment on how the product is working for you, our customer service. Your feedback helps ensure we keep doing things right. You can create your review here, and that's a link there. And then we will thank you profusely and even find a homeless kitten to hug on your behalf. Right? And now the reason why I know this humor is working is because in the reviews, once I started to use this sequence, people started referencing the types of jokes that I was putting into the email sequence. So the humor fact can do really well. And it said, again, if there are any issues with the product, please reply to this email or contact Amazon customer service before leaving a review so we can take care of any issues first, right? So again, it's saying, now if there's anything wrong, please make sure you email me, right? Because you want to make sure you can stop them from leaving a negative review because you're giving an option to get some help from you first. And then a tweak to this is you can ask for seller feedback either on the second email or on the first email if you prefer. And what you're going to do is when you ask for seller feedback, there's a reason for this, right? Now, the reason for this is that if you get negative seller feedback, you can stop sending emails to those people automatically. This is using software again, which we'll get to. But the important part is you can actually get those seller feedback removed because product reviews that are left as seller feedback that's negative, you can have Amazon remove those. You just go into your Seller Central account and you can submit a request to have that removed.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a very important thing for people to understand who are not, using their feedback. First of all, you can do this. Amazon sets this up. Basically, you can do this all manually, and Chris is going to talk about this in a second, but
yeah,
you can do this sequence all manually inside of your account. You just have to specifically go in there, type that person's email, and send it. So Amazon allows you to send these messages. It's not against TOS. They want you to communicate with the customer, but you just can't encourage them to go buy your product off site. As long as you're communicating about the product, they want that. They want them to know you're interested in them being satisfied. The other thing that Chris just talked about, which I think is the most incredible thing, if you push people towards feedback, what happens is just like he said, if someone gives information about which way is it? So if they give a problem with the feedback,
if they leave a product review, like it's actually they're complaining about the product in some way, and it's a negative product review, but they post it as seller feedback, then you can get those removed.
How incredible is that? That you can have bad feedback and you can just make them go away, and then the other part of the process, which is then if they give you great feedback, you can contact and hopefully push them towards giving you a review.
Exactly, right? So what you're doing in the email sequence is you started off so this is the way I've done it, right? I use just an order confirmation type email, and in that email, the first one, you can include a PDF, right? So if you aren't advertising a PDF in your listing, that's fine. What you can do instead is you can offer them an extra bonus and say, hey, I see you bought my barbecue grill brush. By the way, just as a thank you, extra gift, here's a free list, a list of my top 10 favorite barbecue recipes, and it'll be a PDF you can attach in that email. And if it's something that you aren't even advertising on your listing, then it's going to sort of it's going to set them, it's going to prep them psychologically for when you get to your second email and you ask them for something in return. So it's the principle of reciprocity, right? Where you give something and then you ask for something later. People are more likely to do something once you've already given them something ahead of time, right? So anyway, let's continue on here. And then this is the final email that I sent. So this is sent 10 days after delivery, and the subject starts out, last email dedicated to your experience. And then it continues, hello, first name, this will be our final email to you regarding your brand new product. If you have not already left a review on our product, we really appreciate you doing that. We took all reviews seriously and want to ensure orders are processed promptly and shipments arrive as promised. We strive for a high quality product and customer experience. If you have 2 minutes to spare and are enjoying your product, please do leave us a review here. So again, if you have 2 minutes to spare and you are enjoying your product, so if you are enjoying the product, please leave us a review. And then the review link, and then for each review we receive, we will find a public place to spontaneously dance in your honor. Now, these are just, this could be any line, right? These are, I find them funny, right? I wrote them, so I think they're kind of funny, but these are the types of lines that you see, that you don't normally see as a customer. But when you're creating your own branded products on Amazon and you're selling them, then again, you're the business owner, you can do what you want, right? You don't have to be the same. And then the email continues on, lastly, if there are any issues with the product, please reply to this email directly or contact Amazon customer service before leaving a review so we can take care of any issues first. And then the customer service link, thank you, and please have a fantastically glorious day. Again, this is the last email you received from us, so we really hope you're enjoying your purchase. So again, you're reinforcing that that you're closing the loop of the expectation of receiving 3 emails and telling people this is the last email you're going to receive from us. So if for whatever reason they don't like getting emails, then okay, we won't see anymore. And so again, so what tool to use this, right? So again, you can go into your Seller Central account and you can find every order and you can manually copy in and send every email to these people in a sequence. But I use an email tool, and most of the tools that are on the market, they're focused on just email, right? They're just doing email. But we created something that goes beyond that, and you can actually get access to this. So this is free trial access, 60 days. If you go to salesbacker.com/go/Rob. So if you want to write that down, I'm going to come back to that in a little bit, but if you go to that URL, you come to a page, you can create an account, and they give you 60 days, and that will also give you the email sequence that I just created. So when you sign up, you'll get the exact emails already done, and then you can edit them as however you want. Now, the other thing I want to show you, though, is actually the software itself. So okay, can you see the SalesBacker?
No,
okay.
We're still looking at your.
Okay, so let me change my screen. Changing it over here. Here we go. All right, so you can see it now. Should be able to.
Yep.
All right. So again, so this is actually how the emails are sent. It's using this tool that we built called SalesBacker. And when you first log into the tool, this is what it does, right? So it gives you an overall dashboard, kind of a health or the pulse, I guess you could say, of your Amazon business. So it's showing you the number of orders in the last 7 days, the number of emails sent, last 30 days, etc. Product reviews, seller feedback, and then showing you a conversion rate, showing you how what your review conversion is, your feedback conversion, and then also you can see your recently sent emails. So any email, you can come in here, you can click this, you can look at the email and say, okay, here's what was sent. Hello, Chad. So again, the buyer first name is replaced with the actual customer, and then here's the Amazon customer service link you could click, and then here's the link to write the review. Right, so you can see how the email looks. But then the cool part too is if you end up getting some of these crazy customers on Amazon, which it's going to happen. You're going to have people that, for whatever reason, hate the world, or for lack of a better way to put it. But if you have these customers, you can search them by their name, their email, their order ID, and you can find them here. And then you can click a link to unsubscribe them, right? So they won't receive any more emails from that sequence. Or you can just blacklist them so they never received any email from you ever again if they ever buy anything from you, right? So let me continue on there to show you a bit more of this, and then I want to definitely answer any questions because I'm sure that there've been a lot coming in here. So the thing too that we built is we built this to be very product centric. So when you first create an account using your free trial link that I mentioned earlier, you have your products displayed here, and then very simply it shows you whether or not your campaign is running or not. Now, when you first start, of course, we're not sending any emails. It's just all paused. But the cool part is you can come into your product, and then you can also see, okay, you can see what your bestseller rank has been, right? So it's tracking your bestseller rank over time. It's also tracking your Amazon product reviews. And so you can come in here, you can look at your 3-star reviews, for example, and then you can reply to these right from within the actual app. So it'll take you to Amazon, and then you can reply there. And then the cool part too is that, again, you can edit your product names here, and this doesn't change them on Amazon, but what this does is when you come over here to the email campaign area, you can come into one of these campaigns, and now this product name here is replaced with the product name you have in your SalesBacker account. And so the reason why that's great is because what you can do is you can select a single campaign if you like, and you can use it for every single product that you have on Amazon. So the actual setup process, I'm spending more time because I'm walking through showing you all this, but the actual setup process can take you 5 to 10 minutes to get going, and then you're done, and you don't have to do anything else. And then the other cool part is because we're actually tracking your product reviews, we also send you email alerts. Whether you get seller feedback that's negative or negative product reviews, we send you emails multiple times a day because the software is constantly checking to see if you're getting negative reviews. And this is important because then if people are leaving you this negative feedback or these negative product reviews, then you can come and say, okay, what's wrong here? How can I solve this problem? Who is this customer? Do I need to call them? Do I need to email them, etc. Right? So it's a little bit. It's a way to help you do damage control. And if you aren't watching your reviews a lot of times, then your conversion rate can tank if you get a negative review and you don't try and do something about it. Because people that are on your Amazon listing will see it as a most recent review, and when they're scanning down your sales page and they see a negative review, they're like, oh, well, I don't want to buy that. Right? So this is why it's really important. And if you're manually monitoring this, then that's already a massive time saver. But I want to show the campaign setup here, and then I'm going to come back here so we can answer questions. But so we created automatically, campaigns you can use already, right? So you can use the campaign to get both seller feedback and product reviews if you wanted that. If you are just trying to get product reviews, you can use the review maximizer, or if for whatever reason you just want to get seller feedback, then you can use that. So every campaign is set up pre-done to help you get reviews or feedback, and the best part is that you don't have to write them yourself, right? You can come in here and write any new campaign if you'd like, right? You can just click Add New Campaign. But if you want, you can just use one of these existing ones, and then inside here you can control, the subject, the content. You can switch to HTML so you can make it all pretty if you want to, and you can also control when these emails are sent out. So whether as soon as possible or after the item has been shipped, delivered, confirmed. And here's that thing I was talking about earlier. So if you get negative seller feedback from someone, you can automatically stop any emails from potentially going out after that if they leave you negative seller feedback. And then again, too, offering that attachment. So I think that tip I mentioned earlier of on that first email you send out to a customer, if you don't even advertise that you're giving a PDF bonus in your listing, and yet you send something to people on that first sale, that's going to help spike. That's going to help improve your conversion rate for you asking people to leave you product reviews, because you've already done something extra for the customer that they weren't expecting. And so that's, again, coming back to that earlier point I made. How do you achieve victory on most things? It's by doing the types of things that most people aren't doing, or by doing them differently, right? And so that's one kind of tip that you can incorporate. But that was just a really quick demo I wanted to show people. Again, let's. Have you, a lot of questions coming in? I haven't seen the questions.
I've got several questions for you.
Okay, cool.
So the first one would be how long will you leave the offer up for the free 60 days? What's the plan with that?
For you guys, it's good. We'll keep it up. So there's no plan in the foreseeable future for us to remove that. So as long as you guys are
using my link, just like our Amma Suite link, you've taken care of my people for a long time. So okay, exactly. So that means whenever some of you guys aren't ready, some of these guys aren't ready yet to start this, so that's why they're asking.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, so Chris, what is the differences do you feel like between your program and some of the other programs that have been around just maybe a little bit longer?
Yeah, the biggest difference is that we pretty much designed it specifically for private label sellers, right? I view the Amazon marketplace as a place for two different groups. There are people that resell other products, so you're out there, you found a sweet deal on some Bose headphones and you're reselling them on Amazon, or you've created your own brand and you're selling it on Amazon and you're trying to get product reviews. Right now, the difference is that these two groups of sellers are after entirely different things. group one, those resellers, they need seller feedback because they don't care about getting product reviews in the products that they're selling. They want seller feedback because seller feedback is the only thing that helps them as a seller show that they're someone that can help that Amazon should give the buy box to, right? So those people that are selling other brand products, there's a whole different type of game that's played there where you have to have a great price, you have to have good metrics in terms of your communications with customers, you have to have good metrics in terms of your delivery times, and all this other stuff. And so seller feedback is really important to those sellers. But what we're saying is that those sellers are great, right? And they can use SalesBacker and it works for them. But if you're a private label seller and you built your own brand or you're going to build your own brand, then everything that we build, every feature that we add to this product is done to answer the single question of, will this help brand owners with their business, right? So something, for example, like tracking your product reviews and sending you email notifications on those. That is something that is specifically helpful for private label sellers. So that's why we built it, right? Tracking your BSR so you can see how your bestseller rank has done over time. That's something that private label sellers should be interested in, and so that's why we do it. And so the biggest difference really is that there are two different groups, and we're saying we're focusing on just this one group, whereas every other tool out there that has feedback in its name is focused, at least initially, they were focused on resellers.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. That's because Chris is a seller. That helps out a whole lot, and he's in
exactly right. So, and just not to interrupt too much more, but that's the reason why. So everything that I do with software is done from the experience of actually doing it, right? So okay, I've sold products on Amazon and private label. I understand the problems that we all face as sellers, and so okay, how do we build software that can help with that? And so that's the approach.
So Jenny is asking about if they already use like an autoresponder like GetResponse or Aweber, how easy would it be for them to switch over to what you're doing?
Yeah, so Jenny, that's a good question, but it's actually two separate things, right? So with SalesBacker, this integrates with your Amazon account, and emails are sent on your behalf to your Amazon customers. Now, if you're using Aweber or GetResponse, those are people that are being added to your email list through your blog or through your e-commerce website or through Facebook groups.
Super URL that you're doing promo codes for and stuff.
Exactly, right? That's a great strategy as well. So if you're doing that, then those people are being added to your email list, and those are people that you know, and you know their email list or their email address rather, and so you can market to them whatever you want. But with Amazon, all the emails that are being sent through SalesBacker and any other tool out there are being sent to encrypted email addresses that Amazon automatically generates for every customer on Amazon. And so what that means, to just make it simple, is that Amazon tracks everything that's sent to those customers. That's why they have these rules, and you might be thinking, oh, that's no big deal, they're not going to look at these emails. Well, they store every single email that you send to these customers for years. I don't know the exact time frame. I believe it's forever, but the important part is that that's why you have to stick to these rules. But when you set something up like SalesBacker, you get it up, you set up your sequences, and then automatically you're going to be starting to email your customers to get reviews, and then those reviews are the ones that are going to stick if there's some type of culling down the line of reviews being removed, because they're from your actual customers, full price customers.
All right, so the question that's coming up over and over again is several people are using Feedback Genius in the deal, and so they're really looking for what you feel like the difference between those two are.
Yeah, so it comes back to that earlier point about, they were originally designed for feedback. That's why they have it in their domain name and their brand. And if you look at the fact that we send email notifications for product reviews, that's not something that they do. We track the BSR for your products. It's not something they do because, again, a lot of their customers, and at least initially, I'm not sure what they do now, but and I can't, of course, speak entirely on their behalf, but a lot of those people are resellers, right? That's how they got started, and that's what they originally designed their tool for. But tracking product reviews is absolutely zero value to resellers because they only care about seller feedback. So the biggest difference are those two things, and we have other features in there that we've been building, and especially as we continue on, everything that we do is, okay, is this helpful for brand owners? If yes, okay, we'll build it. If not, okay, we're not going to build it. So those are a couple of the main differences, though. And then also too, the UI that we have set up, it's very straightforward. You sign up, and in 5 minutes you see a list of your products. You can pick a campaign, and you're off and running. You don't have to do anything confusing.
And you also, but there's also some several differences in the tracking of your reviews as well, and how
Exactly.
you can keep track over your BSR over time and things like that as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, and when you first log in, you get a quick glimpse of how your account's doing, right? So you see your orders in the last 7 days, you see your emails, you see your product reviews in the last 7 days, your feedback, and so those are some of the main differences. And also too, I guess from a pricing standpoint, we're a little bit less expensive over time as well.
All right. So another question is um, you mentioned sending a PDF in your emails. What is the purpose of the PDF, and does Amazon have no objection to that?
Yeah, so the purpose really is to just provide something extra to customers, right? You might think, okay, oh, it's just a PDF, but I know from a standpoint of, I know just because I've seen it work really well, that if you're giving someone something like, again, we'll come back to the barbecue example. Here's 10 of my favorite recipes for barbecue, barbecue whatever, right? Barbecuing food. And you're saying that from this perspective of a brand owner of a company that's selling barbecue products. Then, your opinion holds weight to that customer, and the fact that you're giving away this free recipe book for free, or this recipe book for free rather, that's extra value. And again, people, even though it's a PDF and it's being delivered in that manner and it's not a physical book, people still associate recipes and books with value of greater than free, of greater than $0, right? So overall, you're giving them extra value that they haven't asked for, and then when you do that, when you then ask them later for a review, they're more likely to say to actually do it because they're like, oh, this is that company that sent me that free review guide. And so you can just add that into SalesBacker. You can click the add the attachment and then put it on any email you want, and it will send automatically.
Okay, here's another one. Can I tell this only to go for specific ASINs and not others?
Yeah, exactly. And actually, too, right now, I believe, am I showing you the actual presentation here so you can see the link salesbacker.com/go/run?
Yes.
Okay. So again, so people go and write down that link if you want to or navigate to it. I'll switch back and I'll show you how that looks. So let me share my screen again here. Okay. Sorry, what was the question again? I forget.
Well, can you send to specific ASINs?
Exactly, right. So here we are back in the thing. So that's where this is again coming back to the UI being really straightforward and simple. You just you come to the products link, and then you see, okay, this ASIN it's running, this ASIN it's paused. So okay, it's on or off. So yeah, you can turn it on for only specific products. So a lot of times we have users that are doing reselling products, and they're also doing private label, and so they'll have a different sequence for their reselling products, and then a different sequence for their private label. And there may be some products they just don't want a sequence on for whatever reason, and they can just leave those off. So you can do that. Yeah, you can turn it on and off for independently.
And then, Travis, I think we answered the next question, which was, can I send a generic message to 95% of my listings, but then send a series of 3 product-specific messages to my PL products only? Yes, because they're all specific ASIN numbers. So yes.
Exactly.
So that's an easy one.
Yep, and I mean this is our staging server, so this is where we deploy new versions and everything. And so if you had multiple variants, then you'll also see a little variant tab here that shows whether it's a color or size difference or whatever.
So you could technically then you could sell. Are you saying you could sell only to people that buy red ones?
Yeah, you could send it to just those people if you wanted to. I mean, you would probably just want to send to everybody, right?
Right,
you want
but
to
I'm
get more
saying
reviews.
I don't know why you would, but
yeah. I mean, if you had, for example, a child listing and that had some different type of extra that the other ones don't, then yeah, you can tailor your language to that. So it's really customizable.
All right. So if I have 250 SKUs, do I have to set up for per ASIN?
Right now, it's a manual process in the sense that, and the reason why this is that we originally designed this for private label sellers, but what we didn't expect is that as many resellers would actually come and want to use it as well. But I believe it's because people like the simplicity of the UI. But one of the things we're working on is mass editing tools to do that all. So we don't have that right now, but it is something that's on our radar. Actually, Tuesday I'm talking with my co-founder about that specifically and a few other ideas that we had.
When I switch from Feedback Genius to SalesBacker, do I just shut off my email sequence with Feedback and then turn on with SalesBacker? How do I know the emails aren't doubling up?
Yeah, so the way we make it really simple is when you first sign up and it comes up, every single product will be added into your dashboard, and everything will be sent to paused. So all you got to do is copy your emails over from another service provider, come into the campaigns area, and then either use these existing campaigns or just add your own campaign, and then you can send test emails to yourself to make sure they look okay, and then you just shut them off at your previous provider, and then you turn them on here, turn them running, and then it's going to start with all the new orders that come after that date and time, right? So as soon as you turn it off at another provider and it starts running, then every new buyer is going to be sent those emails. So that's how you make sure there's no double up. You just leave them off until you shut off your other one, and then you turn it on. And the other thing too I should mention, because I didn't include that, is if you need help or anything like that, you can just email support@salesbacker.com and just mention Rob's name, and then we can make sure we take care of you as well.
Are you saying that when we start up, you import all of our products?
Yeah. So what it does is, like, when you sign up for a SalesBacker, and the process is really straightforward. But when you first sign up, you create your account, you get an email, and you verify that that's you, and then you connect to what's called the Amazon MWS API, which sounds really technical because it is, but all you have to do is follow the steps on the screen. It's pretty straightforward, but what that does is it connects to the Amazon account to pull in the products, so that then you can start to email your customers using SalesBacker software.
Can SalesBacker be used in the UK marketplace?
Right now, we've only set up for Amazon.com because specifically what we're trying to do is we released with already what we believe was a pretty different set of features than the other tools. But then as we finish all of what we want to have in the tool, then we're going to start to look at the other marketplaces. But that is the question that we get all the time, and so it's something that we're going to be discussing to get going as well.
Okay. Any other questions, anybody? Because that pretty much beats out most of the questions I have so far.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing too is that I'm very visible in all the different Facebook groups and on, and also just around in general. So right, so if you tag me as just Chris Guthrie in any communications on Facebook, if I'm in the group, then I'm going to eventually reply to it. Or you can also just email support@salesbacker.com. That'll be the fastest way if you're trying to get support questions. But and then the other thing too, didn't mention this, but again, so yeah, it's unlimited 60. So during that 60-day trial, if you use the salesbacker.com/go/Rob, you'll know that it's right when you get to the page and it says 60 days, and it also says 4 email campaigns, and then. So you get the email campaign that I mentioned earlier, the one that I've used that's been really effective, actually, kind of based on that CD Baby philosophy, the philosophy that they use to sell their company for $22 million. So it's very straightforward to set up, though, and any questions can email me and email the team, and yeah.
Can 2 different Amazon accounts be included in one SalesBacker account?
It's not set up in that way, in part because. Well, this is what we can do actually, is we can connect the two for billing purposes, so that way, it's SalesBacker is usage based, right? So if you aren't selling on Amazon, we can't actually even sell you the software. You have to actually be up and successfully selling on Amazon. But then if you have 2 different accounts and say you've gotten Amazon's blessing to have those 2 accounts, then you can just email our support team, and then we can connect the 2 so that you have them connected for billing purposes. So you're getting a bit of a discount there in terms of volume.
Does SalesBacker have email open and click-through rate reports?
Not at this time, but that's another thing that's been on our list. It is on our list, rather, to discuss about how we're going to do it. The biggest thing is that a lot of these ideas we've had for a while, but with what we already launched with, we felt it was better than what was most of what was on the market, but we wanted to get the feedback from people to see what's most interesting to them, and then kind of go from there. So it's very much evolving, and we're adding a lot more things, and we'll continue to add as we go on. So it should get better and better.
All right. So I think that's most of those questions. I do have another question that probably it doesn't have exactly to do with what we're doing here, but I do have some questions about Amma data from several people who are customers. Where are we at with that, and what's going on with that?
Yeah, I'm talking to, so Casey is one of the guys that I hired that helps with Amma Suite, and he's in the process of redoing all the data, and so we're actually giving away the UK data for free as well, and so all that's being recombined and being sent out. It's going to be sent out before the end of the month is the plan. And the thing too that I've been telling people in the Facebook groups, and I know that at least in that regard, uh, there's several things that we could have done differently with that we should have. And so in those cases though, yeah, we just tell people if you're frustrated, then yeah, we can issue you a refund or you can wait and we'll take care of it before the end of the month. So that's the current time frame. And again, if people want to email just support, we can help you out there too.
Typical review rates are around 4%. Do you see an increase in that rate with SalesBacker?
I've seen higher than 4%. It really depends on the niche though, right? So that's the thing, is that the niche and the product are going to, in some ways, determine what your rates are. Now, as a whole, we aren't analyzing entire specific categories to see what the average review rate is. It'd be interesting though. That's something that might be kind of cool to do. But single-digit percentages is what you can typically see. The point too that I'd make is that it's not necessarily the tool that gives you the review rate. It's the content that you put into the emails. But then the things like, say for example, you're using another tool. Well, there's software out there that you can pay monthly, over $20 a month, just to be notified on review notifications, right? Whereas that's something that we built into this software as just an extra bonus. And so you don't have to pay for that, and then it's something you don't have to do manually. So beyond even just the emailing, that's something it can do as well.
All right.
And it's like a rapid fire session. So I mean,
yeah.
So ultimately, the thing is that sometimes we put stuff out, and okay, that wasn't the best way to do that or whatever. But ultimately, we always try and make it right.
Well, let me give Chris. I've done business with Chris for since March.
Yeah.
And I cannot tell you the integrity that this guy has about working with customers in general. He's been in this business and he wants to keep you as a customer. He responds to me anytime I have a problem, and he responds to me when I have problems with customers, who maybe not, need something to do whatever, and he's very apt to make people happy. He does care about his products, and he does care about how that works out. So I give him 100% full recommendation, just in general, for any product that you would get from Chris, because he definitely takes care of his customers.
Thanks, Rob. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is that I'm around and in these groups, and I'm easily reachable. So again, if anyone's, if anything ever comes up, it's, it's not a question of if we'll take care of you. It's just a matter of when and getting, talking to us and yeah.
And by the way, I've heard great things about the update for the Mac computers, that they're having like crazy less problems.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I know you talked to me about it. You're giving me a hard time, and I was like, you're right. Yeah, that's true. We need to fix that. And so yeah, Dave is my business partner on Amma Suite, and he spent over a week, I believe, working on several different updates, right, to Amma Suite. And again, yeah, especially working on the Mac versions as well. So
yeah. Chris, could we keep you around for about another 10 minutes?
Sure.
Well, what we'd like to do, I talked to you a little about this earlier. I know lots of people in here. Oh, first, let's get, what is the monthly prices? I don't think we touched on that too much.
Oh yeah, let me switch over to that, right? So that's another thing that's different, is our pricing is different. So let me come back to.
And one of the first things that I would tell you guys is that, guys, it's 60 days free. So no matter what you're doing, you can figure out whether this works for you, and it costs you nothing. Even if you said, okay, I'm just going to send stuff out to one specific product and you have multiples, but I mean, there's nothing better than free to find out whether it's going to work for you.
So that's something I didn't even mention too. Is that so when it's a lot of times you hear free trial or whatever, and then you have to enter your credit card information to start going. It's not like that, right? So you can sign up and start sending emails within the next handful of minutes, and you don't have to enter any information. All it does is that when you get to the end of that 60-day trial, if you're beyond this free tier, right? So if you're sending less than 120 emails per month, then you're free. We have some of the file attachments and product review and feedback alerts. Those are premium features, but as you go along here, the price that you pay on a per email basis gets lower and lower. So we're a little bit less expensive than some of the other tools out there. And the other differentiator is that what we want to do is that we know that some sellers are smaller sellers. They're just getting started out. And there are other sellers that have been around a lot longer, and they're much larger, right? So they're doing a lot more volume. But the difference is that if we're going to spend a lot of time making cool stuff for people to use in their business, then we aren't going to just hold it back to the top tier plans. We're going to give it to every tier, right? So every feature that we're adding that's premium based, there may be some that are based on usage, right? So again, some of these might have less usage, but every plan will have that, right? So if we add other great stuff, you don't have to pay just to have this higher plan if you're a smaller seller, right? And so that's another differentiator from us from some of the other people out there. But yeah, so these are the plans, and then so again, if you're at $19 a month, 1,600 emails, you'd be in the 5-figure range of sales. So as a percentage of your overall revenue, that's a very small chunk of it. And then as you kind of grow, you'll be able to do that. And so I like to joke to people that really what you should be trying to do is it's again tongue in cheek, but what you try to do is be on the highest tier possible, because that means you're selling tens of thousands of units a month.
And guess what? And if you are, it's impossible for you to keep up with it and not spend a full-time job. So if you get to a level where you're sending 4,000 emails a month, that's 100 a day, guys. So I mean, let's hope that you're selling 100 products a day.
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing well. Hey, listen, here's a question, and I don't either way. So Steven asked, if we're already in free, can we go back and sign up under Rob if they've already done something? And it isn't a big deal if we can't.
Yeah, just email support@salesbacker.com. We've had that scenario happen a couple times where someone has signed up and they're on the free tier, but they just signed up regularly through SalesBacker. So normally it's just a 30-day trial, but again, through Rob's link, it's a 60-day trial. So just email support@salesbacker.com and say, hey, I heard about the 60-day deal from Rob. Can I get that applied to my account? Basically just like that, and then someone on our team will take care of you.
All right, so we got one more question from Travis. I think you did mention ASINs can have its own, each ASIN can have its own message, and so you can choose how many messages go out per ASIN, correct?
Yes, so you can have for this example, for barbecue mitt, you could have a 4-email sequence. For a barbecue charcoal grill, you could have a 3-email sequence, right? For barbecue grill brush, you could have a 2-email sequence. You could have whatever you want, and then you can control it, right? So in this one here, right, you click these products, and you can see, okay, this is the campaign. If I want to change it, I just click this, and that can change which one it is. So it's very straightforward. And then if that's the last question, I was going to pop up the.
That's the last question. And here's my question. Since we talked about reviews, can you give us about a 10-minute Amma Suite review finder showing?
Yeah. Let me exit the. Let me actually.
Because I know many people in here are Amma Suite, because I see a lot of my people in here, and I know a very big portion of my people own Amma Suite, and this goes right along with what we're doing. If you aren't using Review Finder, I mean, it's really what he talked about, which is how do you develop your own list? How do you develop your own VIP list of people? And I really feel like Review Finder is a great way to do that, because you can select the ranking of the reviewers and such as that, and then you pull the emails right off of it. So he'll show you that, which is really super cool. Hey, by the way, Chris, so we have some people in here who actually went with the $5,000 course, and they've been working with us. And I think I've got almost 10 people right now that started out with, they started out and they bought, like, literally, I have people who bought barbecue gloves, grill brushes, cupcake sellers, spoons, measuring spoons, like everything you could possibly imagine that if you were a seller where they do those recommendations inside that $5,000 course, which are super, super competitive things. We have been able to, with some just basic strategy, Paul actually he did measuring spoons, and he had over 400 measuring spoons. He's selling 10 a day now from having 3 a month. So
that's awesome.
And I've got somebody else who had 200 or 300 barbecue gloves, and we're down to 150 in 3 weeks. So we're making some crazy moves there. Now, a lot of it has to do with how we approach keywords with words like sale and liquidation and things like that, lowering price and starting to gain the momentum. But Paul has done so well that we're actually in a debate right now whether we should reorder, because we're slowly bringing the price back up 50 cents at a time. So here's something that was completely, a done product, like, please, Rob, get me out of this thing so I can get my money back and do something else. So now we're getting people out of these things, which I just think is probably the coolest thing we've done for all of our people, is start grabbing those people out, because that's their investment that they put in this, and if they don't have that, they can't move on to something else. So
yeah, that's awesome. And that's the thing too, is that there's so much that there's just so many different angles you can approach this business, that if you really start to think about how can you differentiate, it always comes back to differentiation, I guess. A lot of cases again, with Sales Backer, that's what we're doing, and we're differentiating on our tool by targeting specific people and serving them that way. So that's awesome, though, that you're having success with that. So that's great.
I mean, it's probably the coolest thing we do. Like, I love to be able to take people who are just so lost. Oh my gosh, I invested all this money in this product, and I'm sitting in there. Paul's sitting on 400 measuring spoons, and he bought 500, after all that time. And, when he sends me, I sold 9 today. 9. I'm like, yes. So he's got through more than half of his inventory in about 3 weeks. And Jocelyn's in here, too, and I know she's almost half of hers is gone, too.
Yeah. And so you can see the review finder right now running, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'll have it running kind of while we were talking, but what this does is, I mentioned that before, the top 10,000 reviewers on Amazon, right? So what that does is, on that page, you can find all these different top 10,000 reviewers, and you can contact these people and say, hey, I see you're interested in this product. Would you like to, or this niche, would you be interested in reviewing my product? And so when you do that manually, you have to go to Amazon.com, and then you manually click through each person, and you pull in that information. But with the Review Finder, you run the software. You click a couple buttons. It's just extract top ranked, and then extract more data. And it's pulling in all these different people, right? So it's pulling in all this information from them, and then showing you, okay, here's the number of reviews they've done, here's their email address, here's their website, here's their which wouldn't be as important, but you could always look at it to see if maybe there's something interesting they're doing. But then you can see their location, their interests, and then here's the cool part. You can also see whether or not they've done a video review in the last 10 reviews. So this automatically checks to see if they've done a video review, which, if you aren't yet selling, or especially if you are selling and you have a video review and it's your top most helpful review on your listing, you already know that these are incredibly powerful to helping you improve your conversions. Having a video review can massively improve your sales. And then the other cool part is you can also see what their last 10 review scores they gave, right? So what's the average of those? So let me actually stop this. I didn't run the data. If you want to run it the entire time, you can get all 1,000, all 10,000 reviewers, and then get their information. But in this tool, so say you're interested in, or you're selling something in photography, you can start to type in photography in this. You can click this instant search button, and it pulls up all these here, right? So feel free to email me with review requests. My interests include computers and photography, and continue on. Bob Tobias, photography, magic, and writing helpful reviews. So it's a kind of a narrow range, but, and then the cool part too is you can say, okay, here's someone, Claire, review rank number 26, photography, video production, snorkeling, swimming, hiking, kayaking, etc. 4.9 for the last 10 reviews that she's given. So an average of 4.9. That's great. And you'll find 2 people that have done an average review the last 10 have been 5 stars, and then you'll also see they do video. Now, the thing you want to keep in mind is that these are reviewers that do this mainly as a hobby. I don't know why it is that they like doing it. Maybe they just like free stuff. Probably just like free stuff. But these people will not give you good reviews if your product is not good, right? It always comes back to having a good quality product. They might give you good reviews, but you know, you're much more likely to have a good review if you actually have a good product. So just keep that in mind before you email these people. But that's kind of what the tool does, is it allows you to do that. And then the other kind of cool thing is you can actually find any, if you gave me any Amazon URL, you can put this in here, and it'll pull in every single reviewer of another product, right? So you could find a competing product or a complementary product might be better. And then if they've listed their email address on their Amazon profile page, which is a pretty surprisingly large chunk of people, you can find those people to contact as well. So that's how you can find people that are even less contacted as frequently as these are. Because we were the first people to do this, and so naturally they started getting more emails because we made it really easy for people to do this. But any questions about that one too, I guess, or?
I don't see any questions about that. But I think the thing about this, to me, that the best part about this is look, you're getting the emails of the top reviewers on Amazon. And they specifically, well, how do I get, because I recommend that every single person, whatever you got to do to get 2 video reviews and at least 2 reviews with pictures on is very important, because that takes up so much real estate, and Amazon gives you more credit with a video review and a picture review. So if you don't have those, I think it's just a huge advantage for you to grab those and have those in there.
Yep, it's awesome. They do really well.
Right. I mean, you have their email, and somebody asked, well, can you send out a generic email to all of them asking for reviews? Well, I don't see why you couldn't. I mean, either they're going to communicate with you or not.
Yeah. So what I recommend is, you email them. It's better if you personalize it, right? So you have their names here, right? Most of the time you have their names. So you can say, hey Michael, I see you're interested in fishing, and I have this product. Well, actually, no, don't contact this guy because he gave he's got 3.7 in the last 10 reviews. But you can come to, let's see here, this one here, and contact. Oh, try to find one that has the customer. There we go. Jay Chambers, right? So last 10 reviews, 5 stars, and it says I review just about anything. So hey, I have this product in the photography space, right? So it's a selfie stick or something. I have this product, I see you're interested in this and in photography. Would you be interested in reviewing my product? Let me know, and I'll send you over one to check it out. And that's just the opening line you can give, right? So it's not like a, hey, you don't have to go that crazy about it. You just say, here's what it is. Can I interest you in getting a free version to leave a review? I'd really appreciate it.
Here's a old question. Is there a way to find the emails, yes, of those who have given you negative reviews, if there is a way to offer them another product?
So wait.
She's saying this is not for this. This is for Sales Backer. So if someone leaves you a negative review, yeah, it's in your email sequence. Once you see somebody with a negative review, you can offer, to send them another product in replacement. So
there's a few different things you can do, right? If someone leaves you a negative review, one of the things you want to do is you want to comment on the actual review publicly, because and again, this is the thing to keep in mind too, is that even if the customer is wrong, especially in the context of selling on Amazon, the customer is right. The reason why the customer is right is because it's like the difference is that if you were to argue with someone in person and say, no, I'm not going to give you a refund or whatever, you're wrong, and they're in person at your store, they might tell a couple friends and everything else, and you might lose some business that way. But if you try and fight with someone on Amazon and you're doing it publicly through the commenting system of reviews, then you're telling everyone everyone that comes into your store, and so you really don't want to do that. But if you have those negative reviews, then commenting on that is one. I kind of got on a bit of a tangent there, but commenting on one, you can also do a refund without having to have them send the product back. So you can just refund them ahead of the time and say, hey, I see you left a negative review. I've already gone ahead and refunded your order, but I'd really like to know what was wrong with the product if they didn't indicate it very clearly in the review. And then say, hey, I'd just love to make this right for you, and let me know, and then you can kind of start it like that. And a lot of times they'll be like, wow, I can't believe you do that, because again, most companies don't treat customers like that. They don't treat them very well, and so it's a very much a kill them with kindness type of strategy. Another thing you can do is you can actually refund them. You can refund them over their purchase price. Now you're not going to say, I'm doing this because I want you to take the review off, but you can, you were giving them that money back and say, hey, I'm really sorry, and you can give them some extra money back to just try and really indicate that you're sorry about whatever was wrong for their product. But anyways, I got on a kind of wild tangent there, but
yes, we did. But that's okay. That's why we're here. We want to try to make people happy.
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, I think that's what our questions are right now.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I guess then just salesbacker.com/go/Rob is the link, and it, I know Rob well, and so if there's any issues, just you can contact support@salesbacker.com, and that's always the fastest way. But you can also tag me in Facebook posts, and I'll come running, or just private message me on Facebook.
Yes. By the way, I have put a link into there, and I'll put it in here again. We're giving away my secret Jungle Book 7-step strategy boot camp. If you'll click that, you can sign up, and it's got several videos in there and some documents that you can get and download free. So I'll punch that in right now. So if any of you guys want to go check that out, you can go in there and look at that and download that. And actually, as soon as you put in your email address, it pops right up. There's no you got to go back in your email and look for it and stuff like that. So it's instant that you can just see it.
Cool.
Hey, Chris, thank you so much. We appreciate it very, very much. In about a week or so, we're going to have Chris back, and we're going to do an Amma Suite walkthrough where we walk everybody through Amma Suite and do some Amma Suite training for everybody. So
awesome.
That'll be great. So wish I had a generic template that you could use for all your RA and SKUs. Wish I had a generic template that could use for all of your RA and OA SKUs. So if you want a generic template, why couldn't you do that? I'm lost to that.
Yeah, you could do that. You could have an email campaign in SalesBacker that's for your generic one, and then you could have a separate campaign that's for a specific, and then you would just turn on the campaign for those specific ASINs, and that's what you do. So it's pretty straightforward. But if there's any unclear, I know I talk pretty quickly and kind of a bit of a nerd here, but really you don't have to be a nerd to use it, right? It's very straightforward. But just email us and we'll help you out. So I like doing these Google Hangouts. This is random again. I'm going on tangents today, by the way, Rob. I hope you don't mind, but I like doing the Google Hangouts. I'm usually using GoToWebinar, and so you usually can't have your face on there, but
yeah. And the best part though also is that you don't have to pay. Don't you have to pay for GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, like per one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I need to share with you Webinar Fusion because you don't have to pay anything. It goes right to Google Hangouts, and I've done over I don't know 75 of them or something like that, and I've never paid for any of them, and I've had as many as 500 in the room at the same time. So we will definitely send out everybody the Amma Suite link when we do that. So we'll make sure everybody gets that. What's that support email again for SalesBacker, Chris?
Yeah, it's support@salesbacker.com. I just posted it in there.
You got it.
And yeah, Travis mentioning per ASIN thing is rough. Yeah, just email Travis right now. We're still working on a better solution for that. So.
All right. Hey guys, thank you for showing up. You lasted for a while. Paul, say goodbye. And
hey, Paul.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. Awesome. Looking forward to getting stuck in with that. So thanks a lot.
One more time, here's the link if you want to get the 7-step strategy. All right, guys, have a good night. We'll leave the chat open for a while if you guys want to chat in there. And, if you guys, we'll try to stay on. Paul usually stays on with you and lets you answer any questions even in the deal, and we'll try to do it. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Rob.
Take care.
Call.